Okay, a lot of you guys know my sister's testimony about the severe wheat allergy. She had dealt with it for 7 years, and I was certain, certain that I had learned enough about leaky gut. Although I hadn't seen any testimonies at that point for food allergies, I had learned enough about leaky gut that I thought, I just think if we can fix the leaky gut problem, her food allergy will go away. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the severity of her problem, and then I'm going to tell you about a portion of the testimony that nobody knows, even including her, oddly enough. But I had a God moment today that I felt like I should share it. Thought it might help some of you guys too. So here we go. The severity of her allergy was that we couldn't go out to eat without having to really tell the people that were taking the orders for the food how severe her allergy was, because we didn't want the flour tortillas touching the corn tortillas. She could eat corn tortillas, but we didn't want them to use a spoon to stir something that they had stirred that had flour in it, and then stir anything that she was going to eat. Basically, ingesting wheat would send her into she would have anaphylactic, which means breathing. It would cause her to have trouble breathing. She carried an EpiPen everywhere she went. It was an emergency situation. So it was very severe and had been that way for 7 years. She had been to specialists all over the place to try to get help. And like I said, we're rewinding back to, let's see, November 2012. There was a prophetic group traveling around around Oklahoma and Texas. And they were in Oklahoma City at the time, and I had heard about it, and I had heard that there were miracles going on, and I had also heard that they were taking gold as if you would bring gold as a tithe or as a sacrifice or whatever. And my sister had been very depressed, all kinds of problems. My mom and I decided to go because a friend of my mother's was very sick with cancer, brain cancer, I believe. Anyway, cancer, deadly, and she was toward the end of her life. So we met the friend there and went to this service. I had taken a box, a small jewelry box, completely full of what I now jokingly refer to as the gold of boyfriends past. Like the ghosts of boyfriends past. Little pendants with emeralds and sapphires. I'm sure they had diamonds in them too. The kind of stuff that you would get at Zales at Christmas for your girlfriend. I had tons of those. And I had other rings, chains, and I had them all in it's a jewelry box about, not the size of a ring box, about twice the size of a ring box, more the size of a necklace box. And if you took the cardboard insert or whatever, the insert out, and it was completely full. I couldn't even close it. Full of gold. And anyway, we got there. I just felt like I was supposed to take that. Felt like I was supposed to give the gold. So we got there, and we had gone, like I said, to pray for and be part of a healing service for my mother's friend. And in the process, the man gets up there, the man who's going to do the talking at this service, and he starts talking. He's just very random man. He's walking back and forth on the, in front of the little altar area. He's walking back and forth and he's talking. And he's telling some random story, and all of a sudden he starts talking about nasal polyps out of the blue, okay? And if any of you guys don't know the history in my family, my brother has had a history of having trouble with nasal polyps. which is something you just need to Google. But here's the thing. You never hear anybody talk about nasal polyps. But he was talking about one day that he took a shower, and he had been praying about it, and he took a shower, and he just felt this congestion and all this. And I thought that my sister's problem was very much linked to what the similar problems that my brother had. And so even though we were there at that service for my mother's friend, immediately my brain switched, and I was like, oh my God. Because he starts talking about fungus, basically. He doesn't know that he's talking about fungus, but he's talking about fungus. And they don't know us. Nobody even knew that we were there. I mean, anyway, I took the whole box of gold, and gave it up for sacrifice that night. By the way, I had begged my sister to go to this with me, and I wanted her to go. And then I went a few nights later again, before we went out of town for Thanksgiving, and they were at a different church, a little traveling prophetic miracle revival team or whatever. But I went with Jetty and our friend Joe Parker. And let me back up. That night I went up there and I left the entire box of gold, diamond chips, emeralds, sapphires, whatever was in it. And then a few nights later, before we went out of town on Thanksgiving, I begged my sister again to go. And this is at the beginning of when we were really arguing back and forth. Not arguing, actually. I was really, really urging her via text message. You have to take this seriously. I really was concerned about her health. I was seeing all the signs that her health was pretty bad. Anyway, I'm making this a long story, but the relevant part of what I'm telling you right now is I needed her to do something. I needed her to take the products consistently. And I had said, if you'll get off of sugar for 1 month, because she had replaced the fact that she couldn't have wheat anymore she was depressed, and she had replaced that with being able to eat sugar. She was eating sugar a lot. And I'm not going to lie, that's probably what I would have done too. So, I sympathized with her. Anyway, we go to the service a few days later before we head out of town for Thanksgiving, and that night they had a prayer line where you could go. They lined up and made an aisle on either side, and you could walk through and just specifically tell them what you wanted to be prayed over about. And I told them I wanted to pray for my sister and her son, who had both of them had some health trouble. Anyway, so I go through this prayer tunnel, and I'm going to tell you, I can't think of many times in my life that I had felt the anointing or whatever of the Holy Spirit as I walked through that line. I came out on the other side, and I practically felt intoxicated. And I left there, and I texted her, and I said, I just stood in a line for you, for your healing. But here's what I want to say to you. If you have a customer, you have a friend, if you have a loved one, a family member who won't take these products, pray the stubborn out of them. Because that's what was going on with her. Completely. I was fighting the devil with her. Completely stubborn. Oh my God. Hard-headed, strong-willed. She's always been that way. And it was not long after that Jetty told me, after she and I had quit talking to each other because I was texting her, bothering her about it. You have to do it. And she wouldn't text me back. And it was at Thanksgiving time, and I finally Jetty said, you're going to have to text her and say, basically, you're going to have to say, okay, I'll leave you alone about it. And I said, I can't do that. And he's like, she's rebelling against you. She's acting like you're her mother, a mother figure, and she's just being rebellious. And I was like, I can't take that risk. I can't do it. And he said, it's what you're going to have to do. And I finally did. And so I sent her this long-winded sort of apologizing / making amends, and I'll leave you alone about your health. I won't bother you anymore. We can't not speak to each other. And she texts back, okay. And anyway, I didn't know this, but a few days later, on her own accord, she decided, and didn't tell anybody, to start taking the products consistently and get off of sugar. And it took 1 month to completely seal the leaky gut problem. And she was well. The rest of that story goes that she had figured out that she thought she was well. She went and had her blood tested. Everything she had previously tested on a scale of 1 to 5, she had tested like a 3 and a 4 on tons of common foods. And she was a 5 on wheat. Well, she went back and had her blood retested, and she tested a 0 on everything except for mold. And she was less than 1 on mold. She was a 0.5. Sealing your leaky gut problem fixes your food allergies. And that, we've used her testimony to fix hundreds, if not thousands, of people's problem with that. Okay? Now, praying over your stubborn family members fixes that. Fixes the stubborn. So, I mean, it's so funny because in my mind, I link so much about the way I work my plexus business with the way my spirit life is. It kind of all shakes hands. God definitely brought this business into my life for a reason, to help people. But it's not through my power. It's not ever through my power that I do any of this. But I prayed a huge dream for a miracle, basically, because she had been everywhere for help. Specialists everywhere try to get help. No one could help her. No one could help her. No one could figure out why she was allergic to it, why the allergy was so bad. No one had nothing, no answers for her, except for to put her on, of course, steroids, which we know the bad about that. And if you don't know the bad about that, then you need to watch the YouTube video about that. But here's the thing. The combination of plexus and prayer, plexus and dreaming huge dreams, dreaming for miracles. She got her miracle. She knew that her wheat allergy was also linked to the fact that she was having trouble getting pregnant. And it took her a month to seal the leaky gut. And then 1 month after that, she was pregnant with baby Jess. And baby Jess was a year in October. A year old. Healthy. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I was thinking about the part I was thinking about today. I was at an antique store, and I looked in a case, and I saw a piece of jewelry that was identical to the jewelry, one of the pieces of jewelry that I gave that night. And I was looking at it, and I was thinking, I used to have something just like that. And I was thinking, I didn't wear it anymore. I certainly didn't need it. And that was my sacrifice that night when they was talking about nasal polyps. And I know I sound a little juju crazy right now, but God has worked huge things in my life ever since I got juju crazy. Juju crazy. I have a huge testament to that, is what I'm saying. The more that you will give over of yourself and let go of control and let God just work through you, in you and through you. I tell him every day, I'm just a window to shine your light through, Lord. I'm just a window. And so, since I am just a window, that's why I wanted to share this story with you guys. Pray. Pray huge dreams. Pray for miracles for your family. God will work those miracles, and he uses Plexus products to do it all the time. Okay, enough about that. You guys have a wonderful week.